All right. Did you happen to catch what Micah Parsons said about Brock Purdy?
I did. Brock Purdy's turning into a free agent magnet. Michael Parsons to the 49ers. Book it.
I don't know if that's what he said, but I love it. I love the enthusiasm. No, he basically because he's doing a Draymond Green style post game, which is
Yeah.
really cool. I know that Eric Armstead has something similar, but that doesn't come out till like Tuesday or Wednesday. But he was talking about Brock Purdy, and he was just like, "Listen, we're not going to just. It was a great story, and we're going to let you do your thing." Like, people are going to start game planning for you now. We look at you as a serious threat. We're not going to take our foot off the gas pedal, so to speak. We respect your game. We've seen it long enough. We're going to start game planning for him. And that's the ultimate respect coming from a guy like Micah Parsons, who kind of gets over his skis sometimes, especially when he talks about the 49ers, in my opinion. He thinks that sometimes they're a little bit more than what they are, bites off a little bit more than what they can chew when it comes to the 49ers. But I think that was a very accurate statement. It was really cool to hear that from him. And this was a guy that played against Brock Purdy in the divisional round. And then I'm sure saw him play a little bit on Sunday before, they played in the late game. And he has the ultimate respect for him. I absolutely love it. One thing he talked about is, it's not a finished product. I'm not going to say that it is. There's certain things we haven't seen. We haven't really seen him play from behind, which is fair. I mean, the question is unanswered. Doesn't mean he can't do it, but he wants to see it. And then he went on to say that he believes he's a top 15 quarterback. And I think that's extremely high praise. I did want to talk about that, where he had said that, Brock Purdy hasn't played from behind very much, which is true. Brock Purdy has 282 dropbacks in his career. Only 25 of those were while he was trailing, which is a very small sample size. In those 25 dropbacks, he's 64% completion percentage, 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, which compared to the rest of his game is not near the level, but it's such a small sample size that you just don't know what it looks like yet. So we'll find out. One thing we do know is that he has the mental fortitude, so I don't think he's ever going to fold in those situations, and players around the league want to see it. So I guess the follow-up question I have with the Parsons thing is, he said Brock Purdy, he believes, is a top 15 quarterback right now. Do you agree or disagree with that statement?
Yeah, I think it would be hard to find, there's only 32 quarterbacks in the league. Right. It'd be hard to find, 15 to 17 quarterbacks that are significantly better than him, right? I think in that middle, all of them are pretty, jumbled together. So top 15 is kind of, I don't think he's top 10 quite yet, but he is somebody who I never thought could possibly be a top 10 quarterback, who now you're starting to see, if he continues to elevate his game, and, he could easily, I think, not jump into that top 10 caliber team. But we have to see some of the things that you mentioned, right? Can he bring a team, that's down to a victory? Can he win on those last second drives, 2-minute drives to win a game that kind of builds up your legacy? But look, it's no small feat what he's doing right now. Now it's like 7 games in a row with at least 2 touchdowns, another game, no interceptions, right? So people are kind of waiting for him to turn into that quarterback that's turning over the ball and, throwing the ball in the wrong place, and, where his arm strength is going to be a weakness and all that type of stuff. And it still hasn't happened. So at a certain point, it's like, criticize Purdy at your own risk, because he's making people that are highly critical of him look like idiots. And so to me, he's absolutely top 15. I don't think that's a stretch by any stretch of the imagination. And Micah Parsons, to me, is one of the top 3 defensive players in the league. If he's taking time out of his, podcast to talk about Brock Purdy, to me, that's the highest praise of it all. Not just what he mentioned, but of the 32 quarterbacks, Brock Purdy is making his, however long his podcast is, to give, an allotted amount of time to him. To me, that's showing that Brock Purdy is somebody that they're paying attention to, because obviously he looks at the 49ers as a definite contender, somebody that they have to probably go through to get to the Super Bowl. And if he feels like the quarterback is legitimate, then, obviously that's why they're looking at him and game planning for him at this time.
DDDW says LMFAO, the 49ers, they beat the worst team. Steelers. Okay, so I guess the Steelers are going to have the number 1 pick. They beat the worst team in the league, and barely beat them. Did they barely beat them, or did they beat them pretty soundly? Because I think they more than barely beat them. That's just me. But maybe they did barely beat them. I thought the score was 30-7. Maybe I misread it. I was in the stadium. Maybe like the scoreboard was too close. I couldn't make out the numbers. But I thought they did more than.
It was a close blowout. It was a close blowout. And you just gave him exactly what he wanted. So good for
I
you,
love
Jesse.
it. No. I'm all about it. I love it when people come in and want to troll the 49ers. But they're going to hear it back, especially when the 49ers are doing their damn thing. So I think they did more than barely beat them, but that's just me. But yeah, is the question is Brock a top 15 quarterback? I think he's certainly in the conversation. I mean, when you get to the back half of the league, I said this all the time with Jimmy Garoppolo. Quarterback play is not as good as we think. You've got about 7 or 8 bona fide guys, and then you have guys that float around the top 10. Sometimes they're in the top 10, sometimes they're not. There's a year that you could have said Kyler Murray was. There's a year that you could have said Dak was, or Kirk, or whatever, Derek Carr. But usually the back end of the top 10 is interchangeable, depending on the season. And what we're finding out right now, more than anything, and we'll see how it goes. It's still one game. I'm not going to overreact. But when you have guys like Burrow start out the way that he did, and Josh Allen start out the way that they did, it really goes to show you, at the very least, not only is it likely a season-to-season type of game where you've got to show it season in and season out. I think Carson Wentz knows that best. As somebody who was in this league and played good, damn near won an MVP, and then can't even find a job now just a few years later. But it's really a week-to-week league. And this league, at some point, will expose the best of players and make them not look so great. And we saw that this weekend with 2 bona fide top 5 quarterbacks. You know what I mean? So it is impressive what Brock Purdy's been able to do, regardless of the weapons, regardless of Shanahan. He's remained very poised, and he's done his thing. So I think it is fair to say at this moment that if he's not in the top 15, he's at least there. He's in the conversation. Now, we may quibble about a player there. Maybe you prefer Jared Goff. Like, I don't know what the line is. I haven't gone through the quarterbacks, but let's say like Jared Goff's the line for 15. Okay, if you want to say that Jared Goff might be slightly better, or you feel, you've seen more from Jared Goff, so you feel like you should put him in there, I can understand that. But he's definitely inserting himself in the conversation, no doubt about it, and he deserves credit for that, and I will give it to him.